As I promised you at the end of the last episode, today you are going to see some absolutely crazy views. There will be many gorgeous spots to come in the following episodes, but these are to my taste the best of the whole trip. And just as a reminder, in this series, I'm telling you about my 13-day solo hike in Swedish Lapland behind the Arctic Circle. I should say here that the sound will be quite bad at some places because of the wind. I'm working on making it better in my next trips, but here it's a bit nasty sometimes. Well, that's that windy north for you. I woke up as usual around 4:30 and left the lovely Vistas hut behind. The sun wasn't yet up above the mountains, but it was pretty bright already. Today I joined the trail that I have done before. It's actually my third time that I'm doing the stretch between Vistas and Nallo, but it's the first time when the weather isn't cloudy and moody. Embarrassingly, I flew my drone again, exactly the same spot that I've done it at 3 times before. But it's so pretty that I couldn't help myself. At least, this time, you can see some blue sky.
Day 4. Today I have 10 kilometers to the next hut. My plan was to climb up a mountain, which is next to the hut. That's why I didn't plan to go further. I was planning to do the same last time I was here, but there was some cloud on top of the mountain, so I couldn't do it. And yesterday the forecast promised well, but if you look now, there is the mountain. There is again a cloud at the top. So I don't know, we'll see how the weather is. At least I will try to go as high as I can.
Unlike the day before, today I can see the footpath. This trail is usually a little bit more popular, but I will meet only one other hiker today. The colors are wild this time of year, aren't they? This was the moment when the lighting became unreal. Maybe you do have words for it, I do not. And often these moments are literally moments, minutes, and then the sun hides away again. Knowing this, I just dropped my backpack down and hurried to get the drone out. It always takes a bit of time. I need to get the drone back out so that I don't mess up the order in my ordered backpack. I need to get out the landing pad, unfold the drone, reattach the control sticks to the remote, power it all up, constantly fearing that I will lose the light. Some people can launch the drone from their hand, but I've only learned how to catch it. For launching, I still need my landing pad or a dry and clean spot of the trail. Anyway, just enjoy the moment that I caught on film. I finished yesterday's murder mystery, which was a bit disappointing. The new audiobook for today was the autobiography of Tom Felton, the actor who played Draco Malfoy in Harry Potter. It was quite a light, easy to listen and absorbing story, although it made me a bit sad sometimes. As you can guess, I was moving really slowly, taking thousands of pictures along the way. Around 10, it was time for a little rest and a cup of tea.
think that's one of the prettiest hikes I've ever done. That's why I'm here for a third time already. And the weather is looking good, at least better than the previous 2 times. But also this stretch is so wet, my shoes are completely filled with water, and I know that it's only going to be worse since I've been there 2 times. Well, that's how it goes.
Having been in this valley before, I try to mentally prepare to the fact that I'll get my shoes full of water again. As you know by now, that is something I really hate, which is a bit inconvenient for someone who hikes a lot. I'm still hoping that one day I wouldn't care. It's already much better than before. At the beginning of my hiking journey, 4 years ago, I would take my shoes off to cross a stream every time. At some point, I realized that it's too much effort. Plus, I heard a story of another hiker who cut his foot really badly that way. I'm planning to try to bring some wading shoes along whenever I decide to go camping, instead of staying in the huts. Some people might say that visiting the same place again might be boring. But first, it's not exactly the same trail. I'd probably be really bored if it were. But the previous 2 days were completely new to me. Yes, for the next several days I will visit the same trail. But the cool thing about these northern Swedish mountains is that they are never really the same. And I don't even mean seasonal change and stuff, even though that makes a lot of difference. It's more weather related. Quite often you hike for a day and you barely see anything behind a curtain of rain and thick clouds. I'm surprisingly lucky this time. Honestly, I cannot believe my luck. Usually I'm happy if I get a couple of days of sunshine. When I hiked this valley for the first time, it was raining buckets. Last year there was no rain, but no sun either. It's the first time that I see this place in its full glory, so it took 3 trips to actually catch it. Funnily enough, I've been here in the winter once, and I barely saw anything, spending most of the time in a whiteout. It's the end of February now, and in just a week, I will be on my way to ski this pass again. Will I be able to see anything? Who knows? I hope so. But you can never predict the weather in the north.
I just got out of a stream with my shoes completely soaked through. Sometimes it's a choice whether you try to go on the stones, but then you might slip in falling and be completely wet, or you just step into the water and cross it. The truth is, I hate wet shoes. I hate wet feet. That's why I love these places outside Kungsleden because there are no people and it's in a salt way, but there are also no bridges in many places, as you would have on the main Kungsleden. And then you just constantly have wet feet and it's so disgusting and it's so cold. And the water is freezing. It's water from the glaciers, so it's just crazy. But it's really interesting. I was hiking it last year, and if you are watching this, I guess, well, hopefully you've seen the one from last year. There was so much water. I distinctly remember the low dot. And that's why you can never get dry in this trail. But yeah, I distinctly remember crossing 3 wide and quite deep streams, which was impossible to cross by just jumping from stone to stone. one of them. The stones were so good. I decided to not risk slipping. Just went into the water next to it. But yeah, it's interesting. It seems like one of those streams has dried up and it's not here. But in this area, I really love this spot because it feels like I'm in Ecuador, right? It's cool. Listen to an audiobook to take my mind off the gray, wet, disgusting rain and being cold and freezing and everything. But I've just changed into a less cold jacket, and I've had a cup of tea and I feel great. So I don't even need my audiobook. I'm just enjoying the scenery and enjoying my thoughts and being in this amazing surroundings. I've just done some drone flying, which I always want to film, but I'm too busy filming with the drone to actually film myself. To do some drone flying closer to the hut, but now I'm not sure. I really don't want to lose my favorite little inexpensive drone. They said some, my GPS device, I used to send all okay message home. You can also get a weather forecast, and they said sun. There's a bit of sun, but I don't want to call that sun. Never trust the weather forecast. When they say sun, you can be sure that it's not going to rain. Well, most of the time.
As you can see, the weather got a bit worse, which is typical. You get some sun in the morning, then rain and clouds come, then it changes again. The wind is just normal. To be fair, I'm usually surprised when it's not there. I'm really sorry about the noise. I will try to buy a muff for my camera for the next trip.
I seem to be talking a lot today, but it's just because I want to show you the scenery. Light on top and that moodiness behind me, so you can ignore everything I'm saying. Just look around me at this majestical scenery. I think I'm not, well, I should be at least halfway to the hut by now. But the main complication, let's call it like this, is right next to the hut. Because that river, that is so So annoying. You guys will see Just crazy.
Nallo Hut is absolutely adorable, especially on a sunny day when you can see it from far away. It looks like a child's drawing. Isn't it just the cutest hut ever? After crossing the stream about 1:30, I was quite happy to have a quick lunch consisting of several energy bars and some tea while sitting down for a bit. Then I left all the unnecessary stuff out of my backpack and headed out to get as high as I could up the Nallo mountain.
Finally, I'm on my hike. I had a little lunch at the cabin. I left all the heavy stuff, primarily food, inside. Now I'm just going up. I'm not sure if I will get up the mountain, but at least I will get to the lake up there, which is really pretty. And look at this. I'm wearing my winter jacket. Seriously, I was skiing in this during my Kvikkjokk trip, which you can see in my previous video. And it's so windy, and the wind is so cold, and I'm wearing my winter jacket. And how cool is this waterfall? I love this area. It's just amazing.
As you can see, the sun is back again, and its afternoon light made everything look gorgeous. To be fair, at this point, I was already pretty sure that I won't make it to the top. I was a bit tired and a bit lazy. The hike up starts okay, but then it slowly turns into stone fields, and you remember how much I love those. But that's not the main reason. The main reason was, as usual, that it was too beautiful to not spend ages taking pictures and filming with the drone. When I have a long distance to hike from hut to hut, I restrain myself, as I wouldn't like to hike in the dark. It's not that it's particularly dangerous at night. I have a headlamp and I would be fine. But the terrain is not the best to walk on in the dark. And on an unmarked trail, orienteering in the dark might be a little bit problematic. Plus, a hut host would be asleep, and I'll have to bother other travelers trying to find an empty bunk bed. But today, I don't really have that problem. Unless I really want to get to the top, I can relax and just enjoy myself, doing what I want. So, when I conquered the first nasty uphill and got up later with the lake, I found a nice flat rock to launch my drone from. You can find the video from the previous year. Back then, everything was covered with low clouds and looked absolutely different. After flying, I decided to use the same comfortable stone to sit down and have a tea break with some nice views.
Well, I won't make it to the top today because I will soon have to turn back. It's a bit late. But at least I got to the point which I really wanted to reach. And this is the point where I can see both the lake on the left and this valley that I'm going to go through tomorrow and the day after tomorrow at the same time. I saw this viewpoint last time, but it was raining and I really wanted to see it during a sunny day. But there is the mountain. I don't think it's that far, but I also want to return a little bit early today because I didn't sleep much. And I slept for 6 hours, as yesterday I reached the hut so late, and then I wanted to leave early to get here.
I still climbed a bit higher. It was slightly disappointing to go down. Someday I should stay in Nallo for an extra night and climb up. I'm actually staying there for 2 nights this time, but it's going to rain tomorrow, so there is no point in going up into the cloud. My plan is a little bit more flat, depending on how bad the rain is going to be. The light was getting more and more beautiful, and I was trying to keep my balance and keep my ankles intact. The stones were back again, and they were really, really annoying. Here, I flew the drone one last time for today. I really should try to save space on my memory card. Here is the highest point I got to. Nallo Mountain, I will be back someday. Now I need to hurry down, which is a bit challenging with all these rocks. I have some chores to do when I get down, which is something you have to do in STF huts every time. Today, I'm the only guest at the hut. There is also a host, but she has her own part of the cabin. It's a perk often of the main trail hut, and it being late in the season. It's lovely to have a host though. We had a nice long chat together, which is lovely after not seeing people for the whole day. All chores were on me though, for the guest part of the cabin. I had to make fire, bring water, cut some wood. And then I sent an okay to my parents and had a nice candlelit dinner. And this is the end of day 4. Next time, the day will look different, as it will be rainy and rather annoying. I hope to see you then.